In today's video, I want to share with you guys this heavy duty tripod that I have built myself. I think it's absolutely awesome. I've been out using it for the past few weeks and absolutely love it. Now this is my everyday tripod. I've been using this one for the last 3 years. It's a Sirui W2204, so it's their waterproof series. Absolutely perfect, fantastic landscape tripod. On top of it, I've got a Sunway Photo GH Pro 2 geared head. So I've always used geared heads. If you're not familiar with geared heads, I've got a couple of videos on them, so have a look. I'll put them in the description and just a link up here. Basically what they are is instead of a ball head that once you undo it, it moves or can move everywhere, your axis is moved by a gear. So we level it with this one here, and then we fore and aft with this one, and then panning is just on the base there. So once you've been using a geared head for a while, you tend to like them, and it's very hard to go back to a ball head. So I thought to myself, if I build something bigger, I don't want to put a ball head on it, and I could just put this head on it, but I just thought if I'm going to go bigger in the legs, I want maybe something a little bit more solid in the head. So a couple of years ago, I remember seeing a guy on YouTube, an American landscaper, I think he was, that he was a bit of an advocate for using video fluid heads. So he adapted these and used that as his head instead of using a ball head or a geared head. So that's what I've done here. Just in saying that, with this system, it has to be used with an L bracket, okay? Because there's no, I'll show you the movements later, but with this, we only have the fore aft movement here. We can't turn the camera sideways. If you're not sure what an L bracket is, so normally in landscape mode, your camera's like that. With an L bracket, it's this plate on the bottom here, and it allows us to shoot a vertical image by placing the camera that way. Okay, and I've got some YouTube videos on L brackets as well. If you're not using an L bracket, have a serious think about those, because they are another fantastic accessory to have. So let me go through this tripod. I'll break it down to all of its components and show you how it all works. Okay, before we start, full disclosure here, I am an Australian Sirui agent, so I sell Sirui gear. I have done for 3 years, but look, to be honest, their stuff is so good, I absolutely love it. I've had lots and lots of tripods over the last 20 years, and I'd have to say Sirui would be, the best brand that I've ever had. And as I said, my everyday tripod I showed you, the W2204, I've been using it for 3 years. It's still in absolutely perfect condition. I shoot seascapes for a profession, so it's had lots of salt air. It's been to New Zealand 10 times. I've put it through some pretty harsh conditions, and I really can't fault it. So the quality and workmanship is outstanding. So this is actually made up of 4 different components. Now I'll be selling this on my website, so it's an Australian website. If you're in Australia, you can purchase through me, and it'll come with all the 4 different components. If you're outside of Australia, I'll leave all the info in the description below with all the different part numbers of the bits that you need. So let me go through the 4 different parts. So we've got the set of legs, that's an R3213X. We have a leveling base in here that allows us to level in the center there. And then the video head is a VH10X. And then we've got a plate on top of that. It's just an Arca Swiss plate. And what that does is it just allows us to mount an L bracket onto here. Okay, so that's your 4 different components. Now the legs are super heavy duty. I really like twist lock legs, especially for seascape work. If you've got flip lock legs, you're going to have exposed bolts, and they tend to cop the salt and the corrosion a lot. With the legs, it's only 3 section, which I like as well, because I think the less number of joints you have, then the stiffer it's going to be. It's also a little bit quicker and easier to pack up. And we've got rubber feet in here, and there are spiked feet that come with it. So you can remove the rubber feet and put the spike feet in. And this extends out it's fairly high. So I'm quite tall, I'm 6'2", and with this setup, with everything fully extended, it's a perfect height for me. So if you are tall, you know, we're always looking for the longer, taller tripods, then this is perfect. If you're not super tall, then you can just leave the legs down a little bit, and then it's going to be even firmer. Okay, so that's the legs. As I said, the center bowl in here is a leveling bowl, so that allows us to level, and then we've got the fluid head on top. So let me show you how that all works. So it just pans on the bottom, and the neat thing is, I'll just turn this around. So here with the panning, we've got different levels of panning tightness. So there's 4 different levels. If I take it to 0, then it's completely loose. And then you've got 1, 2, and 3. So 3 being stiffer. I find 1 is sort of the perfect spot. So that's your panning. I'll just put a camera on and show you how this all works. So we put our camera on here, and then we would level in here. So there is a bubble. So we've got a leveling bubble here. I prefer to use the level on the camera. So I get the level up on the camera, and then I just set this to set the level. I'll just spin it that way for you. So you'd set the level, and then of course we pan left and right on the bottom, and then our tilt up and down, we just undo that lever and we go up and down here. And you can set that to a friction where it holds. Okay, and this is it's counterbalance. Being a video head, it's got a built-in counterbalance. So you can actually set that by where you have your camera placed here, whether you have a lighter or a heavier camera. So you can sort of set it so as that counterbalancing, you can have it sort of quite light, and it just sort of holds the weight of the camera. So very easy when you're composing. As I said, I'm used to geared heads, and I love geared heads. With this, it's a really simple procedure. I just level the base, so I'll level it here, and then I'll pan left and right to get my shot right, and then I just tilt up and down. And if I need to make any adjustments, if I've got my height wrong, then I can simply undo that and adjust that, and it's not affecting the level at all. If you want to shoot in vertical mode, then as I said, you do have to have an L bracket to use this system. It just simply goes in here, and then all of our movements are the same. It's absolutely brilliant. And believe me, this is solid. Like, there is no movement in here at all. This whole head, as you can see, it's fairly big. That is rock solid. No movement at all. So I've got a set of scales here. We'll just weigh it and see what it weighs all up. So it's 3.1 kilos. And I'll just weigh my other rig. So this is my normal one. And that's 2.7 kilos. So we're only, what, 400 grams more. So 400 grams heavier and a hell of a lot sturdier. So as I say, weight is not, it's not really a huge issue, and I didn't want it to be. I didn't want something that was like massive. Now I'll just go through with this head. There's a few other things you get. As I said, we get spiked feet. I'll just get rid of this guy. So these are the spiked feet that come with it. Solid stainless steel. And Sirui does a really neat way with all of their spiked feet, is you take an Allen key and you just undo it that way. So then that comes out. And then your spike goes in. And then use the Allen key again to just tighten it up. I've used spike feet a bit, but to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of them. I find they're really good in certain conditions, but then other times if you're on rock, then sort of wet, shiny, slippery rock, sometimes the spikes, they really don't grip very well and they get a bit sort of skatey. So I tend to prefer to just leave the rubber feet on. I think if you're up in the high country, then, you know, in sort of dirt areas, then I think the spikes would be pretty good. But anyway, if you do want to put them on, they're nice and easy to replace. Okay, I just want to show that bag because it comes with a bag, which is awesome. And the good thing is that even with this head on, it still fits. Which, you know, how many times do you buy a tripod and you get a bag, which is great, and then the time you put a head on it, it doesn't fit in the bag. So frustrating. It's Sirui, I think all their bags, they just leave a little bit of extra space. So it only just fits, but I can twist that head down a little bit more. But as you see, it fits beautifully in the bag. Amazing. Now, one other thing I want to mention is if you look at the specs on this, you might be put off because this video head is only rated to 5 kilos. But believe me, that rating is to do with using it as a video head, and it's more to do with what the counterbalance setup on this spring here is and what it can handle. Even though I'm only shooting mirrorless, which is not heavy, but I can't imagine a camera that you could not put on this and it not be sort of rock solid. And in actual fact, the heavier the camera, it's going to work even better with this counterweight. I find the counterweight with a really light setup doesn't work. It works okay, but it's going to work a lot better with a heavier camera. So that's about it, guys. This is my new heavy-duty tripod. I'm calling it the Beast because that's what it is. If you've got any questions at all, just hit me up with a comment below. More than happy to answer. And if you're interested in one of these, as I'll be selling these in Australia, so have a look at my website. And if you're outside of Australia, I'll have all of the components in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. Ciao.